I'd been awake since 4:30 that morning. The night maintenance team had all caught something nasty at a birthday celebration, and 6 buildings don't clean themselves. Not when important international guests are arriving at 9. The early spring air bit through my jacket as I walked across the parking structure. Most spaces sat empty this early, just a few ambitious young workers and us lifers who understood that flexible hours meant starting before dawn if necessary. My keys jangled as I unlocked the supply closet on the 32nd floor. The air smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and fresh paint. In 15 years as facilities director, I'd never lost my appreciation for a truly clean building. 70 people reported to me across our downtown properties, but sometimes you just need to handle things yourself. I changed into work clothes, comfortable pants, and a simple blue shirt. My normal clothes and ID badge went into my locker. Some executives get uncomfortable seeing me in anything but business attire, but you can't properly mop in dress pants. The conference room on 34 needed special attention. Floor-to-ceiling windows lined the east wall, the morning sun highlighting every smudge and fingerprint. I worked methodically, watching dawn spread across the city below me. There's something peaceful about being alone in a space normally filled with noise and motion. My radio crackled. "Marlene, you up there?" It was Tom from maintenance. "Yes, just finishing the obsidian room. You really don't need to do that yourself. We could have called the backup crew." I smiled, wringing out my mop. "For what they charge. Besides, I don't mind. Keeps me connected to what's actually happening in these buildings." The truth was more complicated. My job had grown increasingly isolated. Meetings about budgets, vendor relationships, and corporate politics filled my calendar. But I missed the simplicity of making something dirty become clean. Some of my best thinking happened with a mop in hand. By 8:30, everything gleamed. I gathered my supplies, planning to change before the visitors arrived. That's when I heard voices approaching, way too early for the scheduled meeting. The door swung open. 8 people filed in, 5 wearing expensive suits from our advanced technologies division, 3 looking slightly jet-lagged in even nicer clothes. The overseas clients had arrived early. Damon, the division head, nodded at me without really seeing me. I recognized the look, the one that categorizes maintenance staff as moving furniture rather than people. "We can set up in here," he said to the guests. "Our presentation will blow you away." I started to wheel my cart out when one of the younger guys bumped into it. Water sloshed over the side, splashing across my shoes and pant legs. "Watch where you're going," he snapped, then turned to his colleagues with a smirk. "Mop the conference room, cleaning lady." Laughter rippled through the group. The overseas visitors looked uncomfortable, studying their shoes or the view outside. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. Not embarrassment, anger. Pure, simmering anger. Damon, who'd worked with me for 7 years, who'd called me 2 weeks ago about temperature complaints in this very room, said nothing. Just gave an awkward half smile and gestured for everyone to sit down. I could have spoken up, could have introduced myself properly, but something stopped me. I'd seen that smirk before, on people who wouldn't hear correction anyway. So instead, I quietly continued mopping up the spilled water. And I listened. "We've upgraded everything on this floor," Damon was saying. "Removed those annoying automatic door closers, took out the ugly yellow railing in the break room, even disabled those loud alarms on the emergency exits. Nothing but premium space for our team." My ears perked up. None of those modifications had been submitted for approval. Each one represented a significant safety violation. The young man who'd bumped me, his desk nameplate later told me he was Jaden, kept talking over his boss. We even knocked down that storage room wall to make our game area bigger. A load-bearing wall, if I remembered correctly. For the next hour, I slowly finished my work while they inadvertently confessed to violation after violation. When they broke for coffee, I slipped out, changed clothes, and made some calls. By noon, I had confirmation. 12 separate lease violations, including 3 major safety hazards. The building inspector, Luis, was particularly concerned about the removed fire equipment. "You can't just take out door closers, Marlene," he said. "Those are fire-rated doors. They need to close automatically." "I know. Can you come by today?" Luis hesitated. "I'm pretty booked up. Remember last year when your daughter needed emergency workspace after the downtown floods? And I found her that empty office?" He laughed, Playing that card, huh? All right, I'll be there at 2. I spent the next hour pulling building plans and lease agreements. Every modification they'd bragged about was explicitly forbidden. Their lease required written approval for any structural change, which they'd never requested. At 1:15, I changed back into my normal clothes. Charcoal pants, cream blouse, sensible shoes. My badge went back around my neck. Marlene Everett, Facilities Director. My name is Marlene, not cleaning lady. I manage 850,000 square feet of premium commercial space. I've worked my way up from actual cleaning staff 26 years ago, and I know every inch of these buildings better than anyone alive. At 2 o'clock, I met Luis and 2 building safety officers in the lobby. We took the elevator to 34. I could hear Jaden's voice echoing down the hallway as we approached the conference room. So as you can see from these profit projections, our division will lead company growth for the next 5 years. I pushed the door open. Everyone turned. Excuse me, I said calmly. I need to interrupt this meeting. This entire floor needs to be evacuated immediately. Damon stood up. What are you talking about? We're in the middle of fire code violations, unauthorized structural modifications, removal of emergency equipment. I replied. This space is being closed until all issues are remediated and re-inspected. Jaden looked confused. Who are you two? I smiled. I'm the facilities director for this building. The person you called cleaning lady this morning? I'm effectively your landlord. The room went quiet. The overseas clients exchanged glances. Everyone needs to collect essential personal items only, Luis announced. The floor will be locked until all violations are addressed. Damon's face reddened. This is ridiculous. We have international clients here. You can't just… Actually, we can, I said. And we must. The safety issues here aren't minor. You've removed fire equipment, disabled emergency systems, and made unauthorized structural changes that could compromise the entire floor. One of the international visitors stood up. She was elegant, with silver streaks in her dark hair. Perhaps we should continue this another time, she suggested. I apologize for this disruption, I told her. Would you and your colleagues like to join me for coffee downstairs? I can explain what's happening and ensure your time hasn't been wasted. She nodded, and her colleagues gathered their things. Jaden stepped toward me. You can't take our clients. I didn't even look at him. I'm not taking anyone. I'm offering these visitors the professional courtesy you failed to show me this morning. As everyone filed out and the safety officers began posting notices on the doors, Damon grabbed my arm. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Making us look bad? I removed his hand. No, Damon. I'm doing my job, ensuring this building is safe for everyone who works here, including you. Before I continue further, thank you for listening to my story so far. I wonder where you're tuning in from today. Somewhere cozy, I hope, maybe with a warm drink nearby. Now, back to what happened when the international clients and I went downstairs. The cafe on the ground floor was quiet that afternoon. Helena, the leader of the international delegation, stirred her espresso thoughtfully. So you were actually checking the building when we arrived? She asked. Yes. We had staff shortages, and I believe in hands-on management. I know how important first impressions are for guests like yourselves. Helena's colleague, Ravi, leaned forward. And they had actually removed safety equipment? Why would anyone do that? Aesthetics, usually, or convenience. Those door closers can be annoying if you're carrying things through, but they save lives during fires. We talked for nearly an hour, not about deals or contracts, but about values, about treating people with dignity regardless of their position, about the importance of safety over appearances. As we finished our coffee, Helena handed me her card. We value partners who demonstrate integrity. Perhaps we should discuss working with your division instead. I smiled. I don't have products to sell you, I'm afraid. I just make sure the buildings work properly. That, she said, is exactly why I trust you. The next morning, I arrived at work to find 3 urgent messages waiting. One from our CEO, one from legal, and one from Helena. I listened to Helena's first. Marlene, I enjoyed our conversation yesterday. My team and I would appreciate meeting with you again. We have some questions about how your company handles safety and compliance. Interesting. I saved that for later and played the CEO's message. Marlene, come to my office as soon as you arrive. Advanced Technologies is raising hell about yesterday. No surprise there. I grabbed my files and headed to the top floor. Yvette, our CEO, was standing at her window when I entered. She was 62, with closely cropped gray hair and a reputation for directness. She'd risen through operations and understood the importance of what my team did. "Tell me why one of our highest producing divisions is currently working from the break room on 29, she said, without turning around. I placed my documentation on her desk. Because they violated 12 separate safety regulations, 3 of which presented immediate danger to everyone on that floor. Yvette picked up the file, flipping through photos of removed fire equipment, disabled alarms, and the partly demolished wall. "They're saying you deliberately embarrassed them in front of international clients, that you could have handled this privately. I intended to speak with Damon after their meeting, but when I reviewed the violations with the building inspector, he deemed the situation too dangerous to wait." Yvette finally looked at me. "And this had nothing to do with someone calling you a cleaning lady? So they'd included that part. Interesting. Did they mention the part where Damon, who knows exactly who I am, said nothing?" I asked. "Or how Jaden knocked over my equipment and never apologized?" "They did not. The timing was unfortunate," I admitted. "But I'd have made the exact same call regardless of how they treated me. We can't have people removing fire safety equipment, Yvette." She nodded slowly. "I believe you. But advanced technologies generates 28% of our revenue. Damon has powerful friends on the board. He's demanding your termination." My stomach tightened. 26 years at this company, and it could end over doing my job correctly. "What do you need from me?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Yvette handed back my file. Justification, documentation, a paper trail showing this wasn't personal. "I'll have it on your desk within the hour." "Good." She paused. "And Marlene, watch your back. Damon doesn't forget slights, real or imagined." I spent the morning compiling everything: photographs, maintenance requests, building codes, lease agreements. I included witness statements from my team about previous safety conversations with advanced technologies. The evidence was overwhelming. By lunchtime, I felt more confident. Facts were on my side, even if office politics weren't. As I headed to the cafeteria, my phone rang. Helena again. "Marlene, thank you for calling back. My team and I would like to meet with you tomorrow if possible." "Of course," I replied, though I should clarify that I don't handle client relationships or sales. "We understand. This is about something else entirely. Would 10 tomorrow work?" I agreed, curious what she wanted. As I ended the call, I noticed Jaden watching me from across the hallway. His usual swagger was gone. He looked nervous. "Problem?" I asked. He shook his head quickly and hurried away. Odd behavior for someone whose boss was supposedly about to get me fired. That afternoon, I received an email from Yvette. "Documentation received. Hold on repairs for now." Hold on repairs? That made no sense. The violations needed fixing immediately. I called Luis. "Has anyone from Advanced Technologies contacted you about the inspection?" "Yes." He sounded uncomfortable. "Someone named Warren from your legal team called. Said we should delay enforcement until an internal review is completed." "Warren? He wasn't on our legal team. I'd never heard of him." "Don't change anything without written instructions," I told Luis. "Something strange is happening." After hanging up, I searched our company directory. Warren Lassiter worked in Advanced Technologies as their compliance officer. He'd only been with the company for 3 months. Why was he pretending to be from legal? And why was Yvette delaying repairs for serious safety violations? I needed more information. Time to visit an old friend. B had worked in accounting for 30 years. She processed every contract, invoice, and expense report that moved through the company. She also remembered everything she ever saw. I found her at her desk, reading glasses, perched on her nose, typing faster than people half her age. "Marlene, heard you caused quite a commotion yesterday." Her eyes twinkled. "Not intentionally. B, what do you know about Warren Lassiter?" She frowned. "Advanced Technologies hired him about 3 months ago. Expensive, too. His contract nearly got flagged for exceeding department hiring caps." "Did he come from another company?" That's the strange part. His paperwork lists previous experience at Chambly Industrial, but I processed severance for everybody who left there when they closed 2 years ago. His name wasn't on any list. My suspicions deepened. "And Helena's group, the International Visitors, what's their connection to Advanced Technologies?" Bea lowered her voice. "They're from Graham Worldwide. Word is, They're considering a major investment in our research division. Could be worth millions. Now things became clearer. Advanced Technologies wanted that investment. They'd rushed to modify their space to impress the visitors, cutting corners on safety. And they'd hired someone with a questionable background to handle compliance. I thanked B and returned to my office, thinking hard. This wasn't just about a rude intern anymore. Something bigger was happening. My phone rang again. Unknown number. Miss Everett, this is Detective Rivera with City Fraud Investigation. Do you have a moment to talk about Warren Lassiter? My skin prickled. What about him? We've been tracking someone matching his description in connection with corporate fraud cases. He typically infiltrates companies before major financial transactions, creates safety or compliance problems, then resolves them for substantial fees. I closed my office door. He's working in our Advanced Technologies division. That's what we suspected. We've been monitoring several companies preparing for investment from Graham Worldwide. Your name came up in our research when you filed yesterday's safety violations. What do you need from me? Just awareness for now. Don't confront him. We're building a case and need more evidence. After hanging up, I sat quietly, processing everything. Damon might not know what Warren was really doing. Or worse, maybe he did. That evening, I drove home in rain that matched my mood. My small house welcomed me with familiar comfort. Bookshelves lining the walls, a worn blue sofa, family photos spanning decades. My dog, Rusty, greeted me with his usual enthusiasm. As I fed him dinner, my doorbell rang. Strange. I rarely had unexpected visitors. Through the peephole, I saw Jaden standing on my porch, rain dripping from his hair. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. How did you find my address? I asked, through the barely opened door. Company directory. He looked miserable. Can I talk to you? Please? It's important. Against my better judgment, I let him in, keeping Rusty close. The young man who'd been so arrogant yesterday looked different now, scared, even. I think I made a terrible mistake, he said, declining my offer of a seat. I overheard Warren and Damon talking today. They're planning something, and it involves you. What exactly did you hear? They said the inspection was perfect timing, and now they could accelerate the timeline. Warren mentioned something about insurance policies and verifiable negligence. Then they saw me and I stopped talking. I studied him closely. Why tell me? Yesterday, you were happy to humiliate me. Jaden looked at the floor. My mom works as a janitor at night, has for 20 years. When I told her what happened yesterday, he swallowed hard. She was ashamed of me, said she raised me better. His hands twisted together. I'm sorry for how I acted. It was stupid and disrespectful. But this is different. I think they might be planning something dangerous. Do you know what Warren did before joining your team? He said he specialized in corporate safety compliance. Damon brought him in when we started talking to Graham Worldwide. I considered whether to tell him about the detective's call but decided against it. The fewer people who knew, the better. Thank you for the warning, I said. You should probably distance yourself from whatever they're doing. He nodded and started toward the door, then paused. Can I ask you something? How did you get to where you are? I mean, running 6 buildings? The question surprised me. I worked hard, learned everything about how buildings function, made myself valuable by solving problems before they became emergencies. And you didn't let people like me stop you. People like you are everywhere. The trick is proving them wrong without saying a word. After he left, I called Detective Rivera and reported what Jaden had told me. Then I sat down with my laptop and began searching for anything connecting Warren, Damon, and insurance policies. By midnight, I'd found something disturbing. Advanced Technologies had recently increased their insurance coverage for catastrophic workplace incidents to 5 times their previous level. The paperwork had been processed just 2 weeks ago, right after Warren joined the company. I barely slept that night, my mind churning with possibilities, none of them good. By morning, I had developed a theory about what might be happening, but I needed proof. My meeting with Helena was scheduled for 10. I arrived at the executive meeting room early to prepare, only to find Damon already there. This meeting is canceled, he said, smiling thinly. Helena and her team won't be coming. Did they tell you that? I asked. They've decided to work exclusively with Advanced Technologies moving forward. Your services won't be needed. Something in his tone sent warning signals through my brain. I'll confirm that with Helena directly. Feel free. but they're already touring our newly renovated space on 34. He checked his watch. In fact, Warren is showing them our emergency response systems right now. My blood chilled. The floor was closed for safety violations. Who authorized reopening it? Yvette signed off this morning. Everything's been fixed. Isn't that what you wanted? I pulled out my phone and tried calling Luis. No answer. Then I tried Helena's number. Straight to voicemail. Damon watched me with amusement. Problem? When did the repairs happen? My team monitors all building work. Warren handled everything. He's very efficient. Damon headed for the door. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to join our clients. As he left, I called my assistant, Kim, who signed off on reopening floor 34. No one from our team, she said, but I saw advanced technologies staff there early this morning. Should I check it out? No, I said sharply. Stay away from that floor. Call Luis and tell him to meet me in the security office immediately. Something was very wrong. Repairs that should have taken weeks had supposedly been completed overnight without my team's knowledge or inspection. And now Helena's group was touring a space that might still contain serious safety hazards, or was designed to create one. I rushed toward the security office, my mind racing through possibilities. If Warren was running a scam, what was the endgame? Insurance fraud seemed likely, but how would they execute it? The security office was tucked away in the basement level, filled with monitors showing feeds from throughout the building. Luis was waiting for me, looking worried. Something's not right, he said immediately. I never signed off on any repairs. When I tried to access floor 34 this morning, my key card was denied. Show me the feed from that floor, I said to Roy, our head of security. That's the strange part, Roy replied, typing commands into his system. The cameras on 34 went offline for maintenance last night. We got an email that seemed to come from your office authorizing it. I never sent that email. Roy pulled up the message. It had my name on it, but used phrases I'd never use. Whoever sent it didn't know me well. Can you override the access restrictions? I asked. Roy shook his head. System shows a security protocol activated. Supposedly there's a chemical spill containment happening. There's no chemical spill, I said firmly. Someone's created a situation where that entire floor is cut off from normal building systems. Why would they do that? Luis asked. The answer hit me with chilling clarity. If you wanted to create an accident that looked like building negligence, you'd need to ensure no safety systems could prevent it. Call Detective Rivera, I told Luis, giving him the number. Tell him to get here immediately. Roy, I need building schematics for 34, and I need to know who's on that floor right now. Roy pulled up the badge reader logs. Looks like 10 people badged in within the last hour. Damon, Warren, Helena and her team of 3, and 4 other advanced technologies employees. Any way to communicate with them? Internal phones, Roy began. Would be controlled by their systems now? I finished. What about the building announcement system? That runs on separate wiring. They couldn't disable it without physical access to the main routing panel in the mechanical room. Perfect. I need a building-wide announcement. Marlene, what's happening? Luis asked, his face grave. I think Warren and Damon are planning a controlled accident. Something that would look like building negligence, but actually be deliberately caused. With Helena's team as victims, they could claim the building failed while they were showcasing their innovations. But why? The insurance policy they just increased. Plus, if something happens to Helena's team, Graham Worldwide might pay enormously to avoid negative publicity. Roy handed me a microphone. You're connected to all floors. I took a deep breath. Attention all building occupants. This is Facilities Director Marlene Everett. We have a security situation on floor 34. If you are currently on that floor, please proceed immediately to the emergency stairwells. Do not use elevators. I repeat, evacuate floor 34, immediately using emergency stairs only. Roy switched the microphone off. Do you think they'll listen? Helena will. She understands safety protocols. I turned to Luis. I need to get up there. The emergency override key, he suggested, for fire department use. It'll access any floor, regardless of electronic lockouts. Roy unlocked a small box on the wall and handed me a brass key. Be careful, Marlene. If they're really planning something dangerous. I know, but there are innocent people up there. I handed him my phone. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, Call this number. It's Yvette's direct line. Tell her everything. The service elevator would take me straight to 34's mechanical room, bypassing normal access points. As Luis and Roy gathered building plans, I noticed something on one of the working security monitors. Wait, is that Jaden? I pointed to a figure heading toward the stairwell on 33. Roy zoomed in. Yes. Looks like he's going up the stairs. He must have heard the announcement. He's going to try to help. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of respect for the kid. I need to move now. The service elevator was cramped and smelled of cleaning products. As it climbed, I reviewed what I knew about floor 34's layout. The mechanical room would give me access to the entire floor's systems. If Warren had tampered with anything, I'd find evidence there. The elevator stopped at 34. I inserted the brass key into the mechanical room door, and it swung open with a metallic groan. The room was dim, lit only by equipment indicator lights. I flipped the switch, but nothing happened. The overhead lights had been disabled. Using my phone's flashlight, I examined the electrical panels. Something had been modified. Additional wiring snaked from the main distribution panel to a device I didn't recognize. A small metal box with a digital display counting down. 18 minutes and 42 seconds. 18 minutes and 41 seconds. A timer connected to the building's electrical system. This wasn't just fraud. They were planning something that could hurt people. I heard the stairwell door open somewhere on the floor. Voices echoed. Confused. Concerned. The announcement said to evacuate. A woman's voice said, "Helena, it's just a routine test." Warren's voice responded smoothly. "Nothing to worry about. The facility's staff sometimes run these drills without informing everyone. Then why does the stairwell door show an access error?" Another voice. One of Helena's colleagues. I had to reach them, but I also needed to disable whatever device Warren had installed. With no time to analyze it safely, I made a decision. I opened the main electrical panel and threw the manual override switch, cutting power to the entire floor. Everything went dark except for emergency lighting. The countdown device blinked out. I moved quickly toward the voices, navigating by memory and the dim emergency lights. As I rounded the corner to the main corridor, I saw them, Helena and her team standing uncertainly, while Warren tried to usher them back toward the conference room. "The power failure is part of the demonstration," he was saying. "Our systems can continue operating even during building outages." "Marlene," Helena called out when she saw me. "What's happening?" "Your announcement said to evacuate." Warren's head snapped toward me, his professional demeanor cracking. "This is a misunderstanding. We're conducting an approved demonstration." "There's nothing approved about what you're doing," I replied. "Helena, please take your team downstairs immediately. This floor isn't safe." Damon appeared from a side hallway. "What have you done to the power? You're interfering with a client presentation." "I disabled the timing device you installed in the electrical system," I said loudly. "The one set to trigger in about 18 minutes. Helena's eyes widened. "What device?" "Ask them what really happened to the safety systems they removed." I continued. "Ask why they increased their insurance coverage 5-fold 2 weeks ago. Ask why they falsified building access records." Warren stepped toward me. "You're making serious accusations without evidence. The evidence is in the mechanical room, and the police are already on their way." Damon's face hardened. "Everyone calm down. There's been a misunderstanding. Warren was simply upgrading our systems to exceed safety requirements. By installing a timer on the electrical panel, I challenged, to regulate power usage during demonstrations." Warren replied smoothly, "It's an energy efficiency measure." "That's not," I began. The stairwell door burst open, and Jaden stumbled into the hallway. He was breathing hard. "Don't listen to them," he gasped. I found the plans in Warren's desk. They were going to create a small fire in the server room during the demonstration, make it look like faulty wiring caused by improper building maintenance. Warren lunged toward Jaden. "You went through my desk? That's company property. After what I heard yesterday, I had to know what you were planning," Jaden said. "You talked about verifiable negligence and accelerating the timeline. You were going to hurt people and blame Marlene." Helena moved her team toward the stairwell. "We're leaving now, and we'll be contacting your CEO directly about this situation." "Wait," Damon protested. "This is all a terrible misunderstanding." The stairwell door opened again, revealing Detective Rivera and 2 uniformed officers. "Warren Lassiter, We have some questions about your previous employment and several suspicious insurance claims at your former workplaces. Warren's composure collapsed. He looked at Damon, then back at the detective, calculating his options. Damon knew nothing about this, he said finally. I acted alone. That's not true, Jaden countered. I heard both of you planning it yesterday. What followed was a blur of activity. Warren and Damon being escorted downstairs, Helena's team giving statements, building systems being thoroughly inspected. The device in the electrical panel was confirmed to be a timer connected to hidden heating elements near sensitive server equipment, designed to trigger a fire that would appear accidental. By evening, the building hummed with the news. Warren had been running similar schemes at 3 other companies, creating safety incidents that led to insurance payouts and consulting fees for solving the very problems he created. Damon had brought him in specifically to frame me after our history of disagreements about building modifications. 2 days later, Yvette called me to her office again. This time, she wasn't standing at the window, but seated at her desk, looking tired. The board met yesterday, she said without preamble. Damon has been terminated. Advanced technologies will be restructured. I nodded. And Warren? Facing multiple charges of fraud, reckless endangerment, and tampering with safety equipment. His previous work history was entirely fabricated. What about the Graham Worldwide deal? Yvette smiled for the first time. Helena called me personally. They're still interested in investing, but with a condition. They want oversight of corporate safety and ethics protocols. They've specifically requested you lead that initiative alongside your current responsibilities. Me? Your actions impress them. Helena said they value people who demonstrate integrity under pressure. Yvette slid a folder across the desk. It comes with a substantial raise and expanded authority. I opened the folder, skimming the details of the new position. It was everything I'd worked toward for years. Recognition, authority, the chance to implement proper safety standards across the entire company. There's one more thing, Yvette added. Jaden has requested a transfer to facilities management. Says he wants to learn how buildings actually work. I left that decision to you. I thought about the young man who'd insulted me, then risked his position to do the right thing. Everyone deserves a second chance to prove themselves. I'll take him. 1 week later, I walked through the repaired 34th floor. Proper safety equipment had been reinstalled, the unauthorized modifications corrected, the structural issues properly addressed. The space was alive with activity, but different now, with new leadership and a renewed commitment to doing things properly. As I inspected the final repairs, I spotted Jaden carefully documenting fire extinguisher locations for our database. When he saw me, he straightened up. Everything looks good, he reported. I verified all emergency systems are functioning according to code. Good work, I replied. What's next on your list? Learning about the ventilation systems. Tom is showing me how everything connects. I nodded, feeling oddly proud. Understanding how systems work together is essential. Buildings seem simple, but they're incredibly complex. Like organizations, he observed. Everybody thinks their job exists in isolation, but really, we're all connected. Exactly, I smiled. You might have a future in this department after all. As we finished the inspection, I thought about how quickly things can change, how one moment of disrespect had uncovered a dangerous fraud, how a building I thought I knew completely had hidden secrets, how a young man I'd written off showed unexpected character. Sometimes cleaning up isn't about mops at all. Sometimes it's about seeing the systems beneath the surface and understanding how everything connects. Thank you for staying with me through this whole story. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to hear more workplace stories like this one. I'd especially love to hear if you've ever had an experience where being underestimated worked to your advantage. Your support means everything to storytellers like me, and there are many more tales waiting to be shared.